Here we are in 2017, a new year with new numbers. And Derrell, let's talk about some of the export numbers that you have.
We got new trade data last week for the month of November, and the meat exports continue to grow. That's a good sign. Beef exports in the month of November were up 25% year over year. That puts them up about 11% for the year to date. Pork exports were up about 18%, and that puts them up about 3.5% for the year. Again, they continue to grow through the year. Broiler exports were up about 12%, and that puts them up over 3% for the year to date. So they've continued to strengthen through the year, providing support across the board for all of the meat markets.
Not only does the U.S. export a lot of meats, but we also import meat. Let's talk about beef.
On the beef imports, imports actually increased. They've been down most of the year. Monthly imports for the month of November were up about 12%. They're still down about 12% for the year. We're still down sharply from Australia, the biggest source of beef imports, down 43% in the month of November, down about 40% for the year to date. But a couple things changed in November. We started to see. One is that there was an announcement last fall that we now could import fresh beef from Brazil. That really started to kick in by November, and so we did see on a monthly basis 147% year-over-year increase in that 1 month. And that's a sign that we'll see a little more beef coming from Brazil. Brazil is still a small part of our total imports, less than 5%, and they'll be less than 5% of the total for the year. The other change we saw was Mexico. Imports were up 88% in the month of November. And that's really a response to the change in the peso value following the election. We saw the peso devalue sharply, and so we saw a sharp increase in imports for the month, and that puts them up about 23% for the year to date.
Now, how does the dollar conversion play into beef and cattle markets?
Well, again, the strength of the dollar, makes a headwind for exports. It makes our product more expensive in foreign markets, and by the same token, it makes our market more attractive for imports. So it really it works against us in both ways, and we sort of expect to see the dollar continue strong, and that will continue to be a challenge for markets as we go into 2017.
Now, we talked about beef imports and exports. Let's talk about live cattle imports.
Cattle imports, in the month of November, we saw an increase in cattle imports for the month. We're down for the year. From Canada, we got more slaughter cattle and fewer feeder cattle, which is the same we've been seeing all year. For Mexico, we did see an increase, which is a change. And again, that's partly a response to the peso devaluation. And so in the month of November, we had an increase in Mexican cattle imports. Again, still down sharply for the year, 23% or so. But the dollar impact is continuing to be there and will be an issue for us in the coming year.
Now, let's bring all that back to Oklahoma. How are the cattle markets faring? And in what direction do you see them moving?
Well, in general, we finished 2016 strong. That was strong from a really dismal period earlier in the year. But we're going into 2017 with a little more strength, a little more stability. 2017, in terms of a general price level, is probably kind of a sideways year relative to where we ended up last year. I don't see a lot more need for change. We will see additional beef production in 2017, but if demand continues strong and these trade numbers play an important role in that, then the increase in demand can offset the increase in supply and keep prices fairly stable. Otherwise, we might see some additional price pressure as we go through the year.
Now, the herd expanded this last year. Are we back to levels that are comfortable for producers?
Well, we're waiting for the annual numbers to really confirm what happened in 2016 and where we're looking at for 2017. We're probably moving towards a more stable kind of number. I think we're winding down herd expansion. We did expand, I'm pretty sure, in 2016. We may see a little more expansion in 2017, but maybe not a great deal. And certainly as we think about going into 2018, we're probably talking about a more stable herd size.
Okay, thank you much. Derrell Peel, Livestock Marketing Specialist here at Oklahoma State University.